Hey guys, in this video I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you make the most of your time at the gun show. If you've ever been stopped at the gun show by somebody trying to sell you something that's non-gun related, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Oh boy, I'm wearing flannel. Of course it reminds me of Grantham, so I had to do a little tribute to Grantham. So I've been going to gun shows for about 15 years, and with my old job I traveled a lot, so I've been to gun shows just about all over the country, and I've seen a lot of things and made a lot of mistakes, and so I just put this list together, just some kind of basic, a lot of this is kind of common sense advice to you guys, but let's go through this because some of you might not know it. So the first tip is to know the laws of the states that you're going. And this isn't just the, if they ban high capacity mags or whatever. This is stuff like you need to know if the state that you're going to has a waiting period. Because if that state requires a waiting period, that means pretty much that if you find a gun at that gun show, that you're not going to be able to take it home with you that day, especially if it's an out-of-state gun show. You need to know that if you're going to a gun show out of your state of residence, that you can't just walk out with a pistol. It has to be transferred to an FFL in your state. You're also going to want to know if that state follows the federal guidelines for antique firearms, because if the state doesn't follow it, and you just think, because it's federal law that the state follows it, and you go there, and then, you can't buy or sell antique firearms, maybe that state regulates them just like regular firearms. So you're going to want to know all those little things before going to a show, especially dealing with milsurps, they might be antique and whatnot. So you're going to want to know those. So the second tip is planning out your gun show calendar. So what I do is I just Google Missouri gun shows, and I'm also pretty close to Kansas, so I go ahead and I search for Kansas gun shows, and it pulls up the lists, and then I go ahead and I see, what shows are closest to me, and then I look at my calendar and I say, oh, I'm free that weekend, so I can go to that show. I'm free that weekend, I can go to that show. So you're going to want to do that and look on multiple websites. So there's multiple gun show websites, and sometimes they're different companies, and they'll list different shows. So you want to check out 2 or 3 different websites that do a single state. So if you're doing 2 states, then you'll want to have 4 to 6 websites up to have a really complete list of gun shows, because I've researched ahead of time and looked up all the gun shows, and then literally driven past a gun show that I had no idea that was there, even though I thought I researched and there was no gun shows that weekend. But so you want to definitely do your due diligence and checking out all the shows, and then plan accordingly. So right now, I have a gun show the next 3 weekends. So I have a gun show this weekend, I have a gun show next weekend in Wichita, and then I have a gun show after that in Tulsa. I'm going to be going to the Wanamaker show, or however that's said. Tip number 3, you want to get to the show early. So pretty much as soon as the show opens, you want to be there on the first day. I've seen shows where there'll be amazing deals and they're all gone within the first hour, because there are other guys there that are doing exactly that. They're there to get those fantastic deals, and then once those deals get all sold, then you're kind of left with a maybe not so good deal. So I'm sure everyone has the experience of you've gone to a gun show on a Saturday afternoon or maybe a Sunday, and you're like, oh, this is a crap gun show. There's nothing good here. Everything's overpriced. It's yeah, because everything sold out that was good probably on Saturday morning. So if you want to find good deals, you have to get there on the first day. You have to get there early. Tip number 4, be prepared. You don't want to just wake up and go. You want to make sure that you have certain things before you go to the show. For one is cash. That's a big thing. You want to make sure you have cash. Cash is king at gun shows. I've seen it. I've worked at a lot of gun shows, and I've seen so many times people walk up to a private vendor. People don't a lot of times understand that at a gun show, sometimes it's just there's just an old dude selling his stuff on a table, and somebody walks up, oh, that's cool, I want it, and they hand him a credit card, and he's just looks at him like I don't take that. I'm just a person. So cash is king at a gun show. You definitely want to have maybe a couple $100 on hand, just so you can get those deals, just so if you find little knickknacks or whatever, that you have cash on hand for that. Sometimes the ticket into the gun show is cash only as well, so if you expect to just use your card to get in and they don't take a card, then you can't get in. Sometimes there's no ATMs at the shows either. So you could go to the show, think that they're going to have an ATM because it's a conference center or something, but the machine is either broken or ran out of money or your card doesn't work or something. There's always something that's going to happen with that. So you're going to want to make sure that you have cash, preferably as much cash as you can afford to bring. That way if you spot a good deal or something, you can snatch it up. So another thing that is super handy to have with you at a gun show is some sort of bag. So this is the bag that I carry with me to gun shows. It's not a real fancy, expensive bag. It's just sort of my beater bag. These are super handy at gun shows because, a lot of times, like I said before, if you're just at some dude's table who's just selling his own stuff, he's not going to have a bunch of bags for you. And then, if you end up buying some of his stuff, you're going to just be, walking around holding all this stuff in your hands. So bags are super handy for that. Also, even if they did have bags, a lot of stuff that you're going to be buying at a gun show is heavy. Like you're buying ammo and stuff. Your plastic bags can tear and rip. So having your own sturdy bag is just really, really handy. This is the bag that I always take with me to gun shows, and I highly recommend you do something similar. So the last tip for you is to have a strategy when you go to the show. So what I do is whenever I get to the show, so say like this is like a layout of the show with all the tables. As soon as I walk in, I usually make a right all the way down to the end, and then I go down that first row, then I go over and down the next, over and down the next, and I try to get this first pass of the show. I'm trying to see the whole show, all the tables, and I'm trying to do that as fast as possible because I'm trying to see all the good deals. So in this first pass, you're going to want to look for what you want. So for me, I like old guns, so I look for, old wood and steel, that kind of stuff. So if anything pops out, I'll check it out. If it's not like a fantastic deal or not something I'm really into, I'll just make a mental note and I'll go on. I'll only stop if I find something that's like a fantastic deal. So I get that first pass of the show done as fast as I can. I'll make a mental note of what I found and where it is and sort of how much it is. And that way I can kind of compare prices if there's similar guns around the show. And then I'll sort of go to the most interesting thing or to the best thing and go to those sort of hot spots. And then I'll sort of make a slower second pass through the show. That way I can sort of see anything that I've missed on the first pass. I usually miss a lot on the first pass. Sometimes like on the third pass through the show, I'll find something that I didn't see on the first two passes. So, like my wife knows, I love being at gun shows, and I will spend hours there just, going through bargain bins and just, talking to people. And so that's what I like to do. So I spend a lot of time there. I try to see all the good deals, and it's worked out for me. I've had some really good luck doing that, getting to the shows early and everything. So I know a lot of that seems kind of like common sense, but it's stuff that you maybe not necessarily think about when you're going to go to the gun show. I know a lot of people just kind of casually go just to, spend a little bit of time with their friends or family maybe. But those are good tips that if you want to really make the most out of your gun show experience, especially if you're there for the good deals and you want to, make the most of that admission fee. So I hope this video helped you some. Let me know what you think about it. Without you guys commenting, I have no idea how you like these videos. So, please let me know how you like it. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.